Hey, I am so pumped to be here, man. Matt, I have been since we had our initial conversation and you talked to me about the importance of not only leading and growing people and organizations, but trying to do it in a way where again people feel like they're on a path with you versus you pushing them. I've been super excited about this conversation. Um, Before we even get going with today's episode, I want to hear if I were to ask you today, what is the most important thing about leadership at the CEO level? What would you say?
I think it's rather cliche, but it's the people, right? So our team is talented, and they understand our product, they understand our service, and you can focus on that. But I think the understanding of who a person is, that's the most important thing in my mind as far as me leading this organization is the people and understanding who they are to be able to communicate with them so that I can support them in any way I can, whether that's within our building or outside of this building.
Man, again, this is why I'm so excited about this conversation. We're going to get going. Matt Schrader, you have you've been recognized by multiple organizations recently, and we're going to talk about all that as the president of Truck Equipment Inc. But I will tell you, everyone, if you as you continue to listen to this conversation, you will not understand that not only why he's an amazing leader, but why he's an amazing person. So let's go on into today's conversation. Got a strong team on paper, but execution still feels slower and harder than it should be? Welcome to the Executive Pill. We've interviewed over 240 executive leaders from organizations such as Disney, Coca-Cola, DriveTime, the CIA, and many more major national and international brands. Now we focus on CEOs and senior executives of multi-location, operation-heavy companies, digging into what's working, what's still hard, and how they're growing themselves and their leaders so their business can grow fast without them in every decision. I'm your host, Alex D. Tremble, CEO of GPS Leadership Solutions, where we run a 14-day executive leadership diagnostic for CEOs who know they have a good team, but also know they're leaving profit on the table because the organization is not as productive or efficient as it should be. We help them find their leadership bottlenecks in 14 days and build a 90-day plan to fix them. Now, if you're looking for some real advice from some real-world tested operators, this is the place for you. Let's meet our next guest. So, Matt, at the 1,000-mile view, would you really quickly help our audience understand what your organization is, what it does, and how it services its clients?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first, I just want to thank you, Alex. I'm humbled and honored to be a part of this. I don't necessarily always see myself in a light that I have this information to share because I just do what I think is right on every single day. So the fact that you saw value in our story means a whole lot. So thank you.
Sure.
But as far as truck equipment, we are a heavy-duty parts repair, service, and equipment upfitting facility in our headquarters in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But we have locations in Appleton, Wisconsin, Wausau, Wisconsin, Bloomer, Wisconsin, and one way up in the UP in Escanaba, Michigan. So we've been in business since 1959 and have been part of Vipar Heavy Duty since the mid-90s. And that's at the base level. That's what we do, and that's what we provide to our customers.
So, 1959. That would make you. I'm joking.
Long before I was able to come along and be a part of this, that's for sure.
So I'd love to hear how did you end up in this role? And I ask that because I'm always so interested because you think, I think people tend to think CEOs come from the MBA, from the Harvards, from the Yales, whatever it may be. But so many CEOs I've worked with and interviewed, have very interesting beginnings. I'd love to hear more about how you got into this role.
Yeah, for sure. So, um, first off, I believe God has a plan, and sometimes that plan doesn't align with what you have in store. And I think that's a perfect example of how I got here. My past life, I was a special ed teacher for 10 years. I graduated college, started teaching. I was down in Topeka, Kansas for 3 years. Came back home to Wisconsin and continued teaching just outside of Green Bay, not too far from here. And my dad started working for truck equipment in the mid 70s, really built up the parts distribution business to what it is today. And in 2004, he went to the owners of the company and said, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking of starting my own. Before I do that, would you guys be willing to sell your business to me?" And they agreed. So he bought the company in 2004, and I had no real desire or ambition to be a part of this organization. I had my plan of being a teacher, and went down that road until an opportunity came here, and teaching was changing. The joy of being a teacher kind of was getting lost, and at that point, I thought to myself, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something different. And at that point, we were looking for a trailer salesman. So my dad said, "Hey, we need some help over here. Come on and see if you want to do this." And so that's how my journey started with truck equipment. I started selling trailers for the first few years, moved into marketing, and handled some of our safety initiatives. And from there, my younger brother was actually in line to be sitting in this seat. So dad started stepping away, and my younger brother Jordan decided that he wanted to do something different. And through that opportunity, here I am. I often look back, and even when I was getting, I guess, the idea that this is my role. I never thought that that's what I was going to be here. I never had that drive or that desire. But again, I believe God puts you in places where you're meant to be. And I was meant to be in this role. And so I'm just trying to do the best that I can. And I think my education, as far as being a special education teacher and the experiences I had in that past, really lends itself to understanding people, what drives them, what motivates them. And I think that helps me be the leader that I am. Ooh, I lost you. I can't hear you. Oh. Mm-hmm.
See, what I was saying was that I literally right now know 5 CEOs that are past teachers. And I think, again, that is not, I think, what most people think that transit is a path to this role. And so I'd love to hear from you. Like, what do you think it is about the education space that can prepare someone to be the CEO of a multi-million dollar business such as yourself?
That's a great question. I think patience and understanding people. That's really what education is. It's certainly not the topics and the tasks that you have to go through, as far as, especially, well, any education, right? There are tasks that you have to learn, and you have skills you have to learn. But I believe the good teachers, the great teachers, are the ones that can relate to their students and understand what they're bringing in from their home life, or maybe some experiences that they're struggling with outside of the classroom. I think that's what really lends itself, at least from my opinion, that piece of it, understanding people, that has helped me immensely in my current role. And I think that that's probably a common thing among teachers, is because usually you get into teaching because you care about the people and the students. The summers off and the snow days and Christmas vacations, those are nice, but the people that get into teaching something that really make an impact are the ones that care about their students.
I'm sure that the summers off and the snow days, along with the $15,000 annual salary, um, makes it definitely worth it.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
am joking, of course. But side note, has anyone ever seen? If you have you ever seen the skit, Key and was it Key and Peele skit? It was a Key and Peele skit where they were doing the teacher draft and they were drafting teachers like NBA players, and they were getting like $1 million contracts and show highlight reels of them calling on the student who could have known the answer but was afraid to put their hand up. Like that's
Yeah.
like
That's the way we should
that's
do
how it
it.
should be.
That's the stuff we
Exactly.
should be doing. Yes.
Well, to get to your point, it's you said something earlier that I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to hone in on. You talked about how sometimes you didn't always feel like like I'm just doing my job. Like I'm not the flashy guy. The spotlight's not on me. I'm just doing my job. I'm helping my team members, my people, their families. Yet at the same time, you all were just recently named 2025 Distributor of the Year at Heavy Truck Aftermarket Week. You have all had, again, multiple locations, significant organization of people who really enjoy working, not only working at your company, but working with your company. Your customers really stay with you because they enjoy the service and the quality. At the end of the day, that doesn't happen without, then ultimately, I believe, happen or continue happening without great leadership at the top. And so my question is obviously, you have this set of skills. What would you say to another CEO, another senior executive hoping to be the CEO one day? What would you say to them to hopefully make them maybe take a step back and see the value they're actually truly bringing to the table, and they because they don't necessarily know they're worth it or they are doing as well as what they actually are?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I look at it as the success. You mentioned Distributor of the Year. The success that I represent, and I think that's what it is. You're having a conversation with me, but I am the voice of our people. I am the voice of our organization. And I don't sit in this seat and have the opportunities to do these things without those people. So I think the people that aspire to do something more, that are looking at their day to day and doing the best that they can, keep doing that. Because you will get noticed and you will get put into opportunities that allow you to showcase who you really are and what you strive to be. And I think that's the best way to live life, not only in your career, but in life in general. Just keep doing you, keep being you, work hard, and people will notice.
It's funny. I think so. My wife and I were having this conversation just this past week, and my organization has this tool we utilize for our clients, and they love it. It's great. And we were kind of reminiscing on what it took to get there, to get the tool fully operational and hitting at the levels it need to hit for the people we work with. It was a 2-month stint of everything breaking over and over and over. And just when you thought it was good, you're like, oh yeah, something else broke. Nights where she came downstairs, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. She's like, you're still working? I'm like, I got to get this piece figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain type of, so I mean, really quickly, I'll say, I don't believe in working yourself to death. I'm not a believer of that. I am, though, a believer of seasons. And there are times where you got to power through something to reach a goal. As you talk about just like kind of working and just doing what you're supposed to do because you need to do it. Yes, it's uncomfortable. No one's giving you high fives yet, but just doing what you're supposed to do because you need to do it. It's in line with your goal. Like, where do you think that that mindset came from for you? And then can you impart it on someone else?
I think you can learn anything if the desire is there. The old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. We have spent a lot of time here as an organization here since I started in my role, was to really make sure that everybody understood who we were and where we're going. And the guys, we've got people that have worked here for their entire career. Started when they were 18. We've got a guy that's going to retire at the end of this year with 43 years with this company. He dedicated his entire career to who we are. And those are the guys, they know because they've just experienced it. They were part of it. And the work ethic and the expectation of who we are was just, they learned it. But how do you teach people coming in who you are? And we spent a lot of time focusing on that piece to make it clear. And again, you mentioned some of the recognitions that we get from our customers, our suppliers, and the industry. One of the vision that I see our organization is being the best in parts, sales, service, and equipment upfitting. And as we were going through this process, one of our leaders said, "Well, how do we know that we're the best?" And I said, that's a great question. I don't know how to answer that. And so I thought about it for a while, and I came back and I said, we don't get to decide that. The people that we do business with, the people that are coming into our facilities and working with us on a day-to-day basis, or the suppliers that we're buying from that are coming in, and those are the people that will tell us. We don't get to slap a trophy on our shelf on our own. It's those individuals, how they communicate back to us, how they interact with us, how they do business with us. That's what's going to dictate whether or not we're the best. And it might not be that we're the biggest, but we're going to get recognition just because we are who we say we are. We show up, we work hard, and we let our business speak for itself.
I love it, and I'm gonna unfortunately push you on that last piece. You let your business speak for itself. We're on a podcast. I'm gonna need you to speak for your business right now. So I'd love to hear, because you talked about your customers. What is the proudest moment you've had? I mean, if you can think off the top of your head, one of the proudest moment you've had serving a customer. Does anything pop in your mind at all?
Not one particular thing, but there is a handful of items that when I look at, similar to our tenured employees, the guys that have spent their entire career, and there's multiple. Yeah. I'm speaking of one in particular that's still here, but we have multiple that spent their entire career here. We have customers that are second, third generation that continue to come and do business with us. And I think those are the type of things that kind of show us that, hey, we are doing something right, because those people, not only did their grandfather come and do business with us, but their dad, and now their son or their daughter is coming in here. I met my wife while I was teaching. She was a substitute. She came in, we started talking, and now we're married with 3 kids. But for a long time, there was a joke in their family. So somebody from here, our organization, called her grandpa because he had a trucking company and said, hey, and at this time it was voicemail, or there was no voicemail. It was, you had to pick up the phone to leave a message. And the message was, hey, Truck Equipment is looking for you. And so you got to call them back. Well, they didn't hear Truck Equipment. They heard Chuck Equipment. And so her grandpa comes home and he gets the message that says, hey, Chuck Equipment called. He's like, Chucky, I don't know what Chuck Equipment. So comes to find out it was Truck Equipment. And my wife knew about us before we had ever met. But it's those type of things. That business, we're still doing business with that organization. He's no longer with us. He's passed on. It's been sold, but we still do business with them. Those are the type of things that not only make me proud, but help me realize that we do a lot of great things around here, and building relationships is one of them.
Oh man, I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. Man, I'm looking forward to now turning our sights on the 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 hard part, like how you're still growing and establishing yourself in this organization. So we'll come back in just a moment. If you're a CEO, owner, president, or COO of a multi-location operations heavy company, especially in truck parts or service, your biggest headaches may sound like this. Communication breaking down between locations and departments, expectations that aren't clear, so accountability is shaky, or decisions made in meetings that never really get implemented. I built something specifically for you. It's called the 5 CEO Bottleneck Scorecard. In about 10 minutes, it helps you first see which of the 5 leadership bottlenecks is most likely slowing down your company. Things like unclear expectations, weak follow through, or a leadership bench that isn't really leading. And next, where to focus over the next 90 days. When you complete it, you'll also get the option for a free one-on-one executive leadership diagnostic call with me to walk you through your results and turn them into a simple behavior-focused 90-day action plan. If you're watching on YouTube, scan the QR code on the screen now. On LinkedIn or Instagram, comment scorecard and we'll DM you the link. On audio, go to gpsleadership.org/scorecard. Again, that's gpsleadership.org/scorecard. Already, let's get back to the conversation. So this is the part of our conversation where we kind of direct our attention towards what's hard. You've obviously won. Because all you do is win. Win. All you do is win. Sorry, it just popped in my head.
What?
I'm glad you got that. And at the same time, I'm sure, not everything is easy. And so I'd love to hear from you, like what's hard nowadays. But I want to put something on your radar and kind of your initial thoughts on this. I was speaking to a leader recently, and he shared how, again, great organization, and he had a particular individual within the organization that is not really latching on to the leadership development framework they're trying to institute across the organization, and it's kind of struggling on how to do it in a way where this person isn't being kind of pushed versus them wanting to utilize these tools and so on and so forth. Have you, in the past, ever had to deal with something like that? And I'd love to hear, like, what did you do in that situation? What worked? What didn't work? What didn't work? At least you know that.
Yeah, oftentimes in our industry, you do really well in a certain task, and you're a great parts guy, and we need somebody to lead our parts department. You're the guy. But those individuals don't always have an understanding of leading people and managing, and the other side of that. It's not just task related. I mean, we are very much task orientated here. Anybody could be doing anything. I could pick up the phone and answer a phone call coming in the middle of this if I needed to. But at the end of the day, we focus on that task piece. And that's something that I brought as far as trying to make sure that we're providing opportunities for leadership development. But you're right, there are people that are resistant to that. And I struggle at times how to navigate that. But my approach is usually making sure that they understand why we're doing this. Be clear about, hey, listen, I'm trying to break down silos. I'm trying to create collaboration and communication amongst departments, amongst branches, because maybe somebody at our Appleton store is struggling with something and our Escanaba store is struggling with the same thing. But if we're not creating the opportunity for them to communicate and collaborate, those struggles become just related to what they're dealing with. And I think in order for us to be a team, we have to have that open communication. So making sure that people are aware that the development of a leader is not just being promoted because you're great at a skill, And once you get to that role, then there has to be some other work that's involved in it. So I'm struggling with something similar to that right now. And how do I make sure that they understand the value of what we're trying to do? Because we're investing in an individual that these skills are transferable to a lot of different areas, not just what we're doing as far as selling heavy duty truck parts. They're transferable to at home. They're transferable to the next job that they go to or the next career that they might leave. Hopefully they stay here for 45 years, but they all don't. so yeah, I can totally relate to that piece because I think I mentioned you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. That person has to want to participate in that too. And they have to be in a place where that journey is part of their journey as well. Not just to say, here, I'm dragging you along for the ride. I need you to be a part of this ride and need to understand where we're going and why we're doing it.
Yeah, admittedly, I mean, you're intentional, especially this is just you and I talking, right? This you and I, closed door, no one's listening to us, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, right? Go on. Your proactive approach to leadership development is something that is not always the case. I found, at least in this particular industry, there tends to be a lot of support in regards to sales, in regards to engineering, training, technical skills, things like that. I mean, you kind of seem a little different, quote unquote, right? Do you ever have to deal with pushback on, hey, why are we focused on this stuff when, if I can just get my guys to, turn this wrench a little quarter second faster, do you ever get pushback, and how do you explain in the value of, hey, look, I understand that's important and this is important?
I'm probably an over patient kind of person. And oftentimes when I run into a struggle like that, I will look at myself and say, okay, maybe I'm not approaching this in the manner that they need to understand it in. So yes, there's certainly times where I have people, I'm sure there's people on our leadership council that are like, really, we come together 4 times a year for an entire day. And why do we have to do this? I have customers calling, I have emails I got to respond to. I've got things that I got to do. But there is value in coming together as an organization to create that space to communicate, collaborate, and to grow as leaders. And while usually I can head some of that off by just being clear about expectations, there are times where it is a struggle, and sometimes it doesn't come back to me. I don't find out about it because it's talked about behind closed doors. But if I do have an opportunity, I will be making an effort to make sure that we're all on the same page. On Monday, I'm going to go to one of our stores and have one of those conversations, because I just want to make sure that they understand that while it is important to sell heavy duty truck parts, to sell service, to sell upfitting, to provide a service to our customers, it's also important to make sure that we as leaders are armed and capable of leading our people. And that's the big part of our leadership council and coming together as far as leadership development and organizational health, is to make sure that not only are we great at tasks and we're great at doing our job, but we're also great at understanding and communicating with each other.
You mentioned 2 different directions that I want to go, but I'm gonna go with this one first. We'll see if we have enough time for the other one. You're gonna go to a store and have a conversation. How? You're the president. You're busy. How do you find? I'd love to. I know again. There's a lot of leaders who are out there right now listening to this. Who I work with, who like I can't. I'm too busy. There's so much stuff going on. I'm too busy. I can't. I want to. I really do. I care about them. I gotta get this other thing done. How do you find the time to go out there and build those connections and relationships and have those conversations?
You just have to make the time, because you're 100% right. I have a lot of things that I could say this is a priority, but our people are a priority. and those times where I have to make a decision on which direction I go, I'm going to choose the people over anything else. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't get done, there's tomorrow, and we'll find a time. But these type of things are what's important, what sets us apart from our competition. And you might be working at a different branch, but there's times where I'll just be, hey, I haven't been here in a while, I got to go. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not as present in our branches as I should be, or as I feel I should be. But it's always a priority to make sure I get out there. And if something like this comes up, 100%, that's going to go to the top of the list, because I don't want to let those things sit and wait. Because if we don't have those conversations, it gets swept under the rug, and maybe somebody's thinking about it, and all of a sudden a story gets written because they're thinking, well, nothing has happened with this, so it's probably these are the reasons why, or this is what's happening. I want to get in front of those things and make sure that that the story is clear, and that they understand that.
You know, again, I appreciate everything you shared. I want to open the floor for you. Two points. For one, before I say it, the image popped in my mind as you said, sweeping under the rug. People forget that, if you were to like literally look at it, like sweep some stuff under the rug, it doesn't go anywhere. You just keep putting more and more stuff on under the rug, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and ultimately someone trips.
Mhm.
So to your point, like sweeping under the rug does not literally means that it does not go nowhere, and it can cause havoc unnecessarily in the future. And to your point, people do not do well. We always fill the information vacuum, even with a lie. I'm saying lie that word, but it
Yeah.
could be an untruth. We think these things happen. Like we will always fill that space. So if a leader isn't stepping up to explain and have those conversations and provide the real context of what's going on, people will assume they know, and they won't even think that they're assuming. They'll just be like, "Oh, this is the answer."
Sure.
Um, can I open the floor for you? Is there anything you want to share as we begin to wrap up here?
As you were sharing that, one thought popped into my mind, and I heard this. I don't quote me. I don't know exactly who said it, but I was listening to a podcast, and it sticks with me because I still tell people this today. We judge ourselves by our intention,
Mm.
judge others by our expectations. And if you can frame a struggle or a conversation around those two topics, I think it helps people understand that, okay, maybe to your point before is we fill in information that we don't have. And then all of a sudden, whether that information is true or not, because we don't have the information, our mind says this is the truth, and we fill those
Mhm.
gaps in. So if we can stop ourselves and take that moment to say, okay, are these just my expectations of the situation, or is there something else going on in the back end that says this is what's happening? And I think, again, making sure that if you have to have a conversation, get in front of it right away, because if the longer you let it wait, the more gaps that are going to get filled in, and sometimes those gaps end up being somebody's truth.
Man, I love it so much what you're talking about. And to that piece, I always think about this. So every engagement we do, any organization is always the same thing. Assess, deliver, sustain. Assess before you try to fix anything, understand what's going on.
Mhm.
Not the problem, but what's the actual, not the symptom, but what's actually the problem, what's leading to that symptom. So you assess. Once you know that, then you can decide how to best deal with that situation. So you deliver the right outcome. Then after that, it's not just about delivering the outcome; it's about sustaining it. How are you going to build in the accountabilities, the reps, to make sure people are doing it over and over and over, the reward system, and so on and so forth, to make sure this behavior, this change actually sticks. And as you said that, it's the same thing for an individual. Always pause and try to assess: is this information correct? Do I know this information is correct, or am I making an assumption? If I'm
Mhm.
making an assumption, at least I should be aware that I'm making an assumption and be willing to change once new information is shared with me. Matt, you are a rock star. This is why you're at the big table with the big dogs, and I'm over here, you know, petting my cat. I'm not petting the cat. I don't got a cat. But if I did, it would look like Dr. Evil's cat.
Mr. Bigglesworth, huh?
I am so glad. So many references. You and we are here today. We are hitting on all cylinders. Again, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your thoughts, your story, your experience, and all those things. As always, all of you who are listening, thank you so much for being here. This show wouldn't be where it is without all of you. We have, to have these amazing leaders on, sharing their stories and their perspectives and their advice that really, if they took years to learn and they're sharing it with you here within this 45-minute block, 30-minute block at this point, the only thing we ask is that you share it with one other person, right? Don't let this message just sit on your ears, because if you found value of it, I promise you, someone else, your peer, your partner, your colleague, your boss, someone else will take value from it as well. So as always, I encourage you, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving. Thanks for listening to The Executive Appeal. If you're a CEO, owner, president, or COO of a multi-location, operations-heavy company, and you heard your own challenges in this conversation, strong team on paper, but projects still move slower than they should, and too many decisions land back on your plate, that's exactly what we fix at GPS Leadership Solutions. We run a 14-day executive leadership diagnostic to show you how your key leaders and stakeholders actually experience your leadership, then build a simple 90-day plan to remove those bottlenecks and speed up decisions. To learn more or see if it's a fit for you and your organization, visit gpsleadership.org/360. That's gpsleadership.org/360. If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with another leader who needs it. I'm Alex D. Tremble. Thank you for joining us on The Executive Appeal. I'll see you in the next episode. See ya.